like running here and there. So that's good.
And this is my first seminar because after a long gap.
Yeah.
And at the same time, generally, because when I used to go for any seminar and everything, I have lots of full of bunch of questions and everything. And generally, because as well, I'm a chartered accountant and as a compliance man.
Yes, sir.
And though I'm specializing only in indirect taxation, all these days, because I'm not filing much returns, I'm filing only limited returns, not even 10 and everything. And filing return just is an informal discussion, right? That's the reason I'm speaking with you.
Yeah.
And we need to comply everything on that. We need to look for the classifications, and we need to look at rate of the taxes, and we need to look into that input, and as well as invoice, because time of supplies, many things, time of supply, and whereas whether receipt is there or not, whether in case advance has been received it, whether you need to adjust it or not. Okay, many things we need to look into that, sir. And return is not a simple click and then go.
Right, sir. So I think second. Yes. So good morning, everyone, and I formally welcome all of you to today's session, wherein we are going to have a discussion on the limitations under ITC. So we have the proud privilege of having Advocate Sri Narendra Kumar Thotamsetty. He's coming from Hyderabad. Sir is a qualified chartered accountant, like many of us, and he's also a law graduate. He is a specialist in direct tax litigation and advisory, and I can tell you, because of the paucity of time, I could not include the number of industries he's worked in. But if you can share, I'll share it later on. He's worked on all the major industries that you can think upon, which exist. And so he has that expertise in handling the nuances of the different industries. So, and he was handling VAT in multiple states across India when the VAT regime was there. And at present, he is practicing as an advocate, and is representing clients for getting appropriate release in front of different forums like the appellate authorities, tribunals, and the Honorable High Court. So with this brief introduction, I would request Narendra Kumar sir to take it over from here. So our core discussion today is about the recent judgment of the Honorable Andhra Pradesh High Court on the 16/4, whether limitations under GST can be worked upon on ITC issues. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Arup, sir. And actually, because before going to the sessions and everything, in order to understand that the issue, first I want to put a question to the people in the forum, whether GST, whether Constitution Act will prevail or Act of GST is prevail. Number one. And whether when can whittle down his living rights as well as deny his opportunity is a query. And I put a small question because all these days, please make a note of that. So I argue this case, and now because our judgment came, and you may Arup sir came and asked me that, I'm a failed person here actually, but still, because my arguments may not be good, but still people, Arup sir came, asked me that to give them a presentation. And hope many people can understand that what is the intention, how it is, and what went wrong, and something it was there. I'm a chartered accountant as well as in my studies, because SAP 1, Standard Auditing Practice 1. A chartered accountant is not only independent, he is supposed to be independent in the minds of the people. And I beg all the participants, kindly look into that. With the passion, from advocate, from chartered account, as well as I came an advocate. And I request you to kindly consider that do not like this judgment in one side angle. There is an objective thought as well as subjective thought. It is there. What is the impact? You please look into that. If you go into that, just a simple way, maybe because many people I seen that giving the interpretations notwithstanding 16:2 and 16:4, only that just the people are looking to that. Okay, and apart that because nothing has been discussed in here. And further, one more thing, I please look into that objective thought, subjective thought, number one. Number two, section 168A, when it come into the force, when it was notified it. The listeners kindly look into that when it came into that. It came into on 29/9/2020. Epidemic, because of the epidemic. Number three, in the COVID period, is government has extended the due dates, is the COVID, right? Many people, even Hon'ble, my learned advocate general also, and as well as many people was in opinion that so it was extended. And but if you kindly look into the clarification circulars of the AP-GST Act under AP-GST rule as well as the CGST, government informed that GST 3Bs is not extended. Please make a point of this issue. The notification I issued it subject to conditional exemption. What if in case if I don't fulfill the conditions? Simple, is not applicable to me. And the taxpayer, this is the repetition 24235 of 2022, Tirumalakonda Plywood. I have a lot of queries on GST. At the same time, I'm the officer of the court, and at the same equally responsible to deliver to justice to the stakeholders. And I have a question in my mind. The issues is going dot continuously. How we need to end it? What is the responsibility in which I have? And there are the lot. If you see prior to GST, after GST, there are a sea of changes. And we people located from southern India, different linguistic people, okay, and many people may doesn't aquatic knowledge of English, and southern Indians, most of the people doesn't know Hindi also. And there is no, and because I'm just giving an example to you that a person who failed 10th class, he doesn't have a technical survey on computer education, English, okay, as well as Hindi. Then, and there is a limitations, whether he can whittle down his rights just like that. And that too, especially in the COVID-19 period limitations. But because there is a lot of gaps in the GST Act, especially CGST Act and rules, as well as GST Act and its rules. And even GST Act amended. I put a query to the listeners of the group. If GST Common Portal is working in line with the Act, see, I'm not putting question to the anyone. I'm putting because before putting a question to anyone, I am putting questions to me. And GST, good and service tax. Yes, is a good and service tax. There is a lot of changes after introduction of the GST. Kindly note that prior to the GST, a person who has committed a crime could not able to could not afford that. But after introduction of the GST, kindly note that a person who is not committed a mistake also is contributing because of the fear, because of the compliance to the nation's government. When you pay money to the government, I expect a development. Because if you look into that indirect tax mechanism as well as direct mechanism, the people who have income is going to pay the tax. But in indirect taxation mechanism, every person, including farmer, including beggar, is contributing the nation for the wealth and this one. Sir, now I'm going to the case with reference to Tirumalakonda players and the taxpayer Mr. Kondaya Sunduru, Tirumalakonda players, he started the business due to his misfortune in mid of 2020. You are aware of that the nation is completely locked down. Government put the restrictions. At the same time, there was a delay in receipt of the certain materials. Might be many people maybe observed one, and he obligated to close down his business in the month of April 2020 as well as May 2020. Also, there is a non-support of the because consultant and as well as read with the government restrictions, and he cannot able to access his place of business, number one, and he cannot access the books of accounts. He is not access the consultant, and especially if you read the COVID bulletins in Anantapur, many people dying, and it's not the case of Anantapur, across the globe, especially Kerala and Delhi, and there is a fear of life, and there was utter confusion for that, completely utter confusion. At the same time, government put the restrictions, especially civil and order. Okay, you cannot come out, and there is a lockdown, complete lockdown. I put a question to the members. When government put the restrictions, and when the people are near and dear keen and everyone is dying left and right, and there is a COVID bulletins, my known people admitted in hospitals, and at the same time, I'm afraid in my life. I worked in Shell. I learned a concept of that. If a person dies, is knowingly or unknowingly affect not less than 50 people. Shell India Market Private Limited, it's a because petrochemicals and generally because I came from an industry background, because generally it was there in my mind always. And obviously there is a fear of everywhere, even except policies, because courts and everyone into offline mode, even consultants could not able to meet the people. There was some, because everyone has to take care of himself as well as family. And due to misfortune, because of this consultant guidance, because government instructions and everything, returns has been extended, people are telling that, and because this person has been carried away as usually. And before getting a clarification from the state government why the revision of circular, whatever may be that, maybe I'm not because revision or circular, okay, make it as a circular. It was clarified that the returns is not extended. Then with much difficulty, this person, generally a person who started the business for fresh because he doesn't have an idea how to file the returns, has how to do the needful, because obviously he's not a technical background, tax concern, because accounts background and everything. He need to depend on the consultant, and with the aid of the consultant, you file the form GST 3B bit date. That is 27/11/2020. Whereas it was observed that due to the filing of for 30/6/2020, and subsequently here in the given case, the officer issued the show cause notice. In the show cause, it's not in the proper format, and in the show cause notice, he informed that DRC 01 will be issued. If the taxpayer filed the reply, and officer, because the thing is, show cause notice has been received it through Gmail. And not with through common portal. Taxpayer through Gmail filed the detailed reply and challenge the proceedings. Section 74, because because on the basis of the returns, it has been issued a notice. It means I cannot use the word, it is an optional form. Why it is an optional form? I'll come to you. Issued a notice, and he replied this one with manually, because the thing is through with his signature and sign an email. Officer then called that, because he never given the time of 30 days also, because he sought that one. And because initially local advocate informed that 15 days time, then immediately within the time he submitted the reply. And of late, officer observed that you not issued because you not reply, and he pressurized the taxpayer. And we filed the reply, because the taxpayer filed the reply, we already filed the reply. Kindly look into that, and challenge the proceedings. So scrutiny returns, number one, you cannot issue it, and it is not valid because you are alleged as a fraud. Section 74, that in COVID period, he begged for that. Then 74/5 pre-show cause notice DRC 01A, and challenge the proceedings. It is not in the proper format. Everything. Officer with a sweep of pen, with an authority, passed an order under section 74. 74 deals about fraud, intention to evade the payment of the duty, taxes, whatever may be that. And it leads to the, and subsequently the order passed with the order passed with the manual proceeding dated 14/3/2022. And subsequently, I could not able to take the screenshot of that, and subsequently issued the DRC 07 dated 15/3/2022. And that order has been issued. It be on the line, sir. Can I share? I think he's sharing my screen.
You can share. You can share. Yeah. Share screen. Yeah.
I'm sharing, sir. Coming.
Yeah, you can share. Yeah.
Is it coming? I'm talking.
No, it is not coming till now.
Wait a minute, sir.
Have you gone to share screen?
Just a minute, sir. share everything. How whiteboard screen? Wait a minute, sir. 1 minute, sir.
Yeah, now it's coming. Now it's coming.
The show cause notice has been issued because the order issued on dated 15/4/2022, and the period of demand financial years order is date this one, and financial years 2019-20, tax period April 2019 to March 2020. I taken the registration in March 2020. Whether form DRC 07 can be issued prior to March 2020? Query number 1. Issued involved is a classification. Is section 16.4 talks about classification? Is the query. Then without signature, all blah blah blah, that is issue. And this common portal, because this order is ceased to exist. Is ceased to exist on the particular date. On the particular date, and so we challenge this. If the order DRC 017 ceased to exist on 15/3/2022, then order is not valid. Then see, I written the repetition, affidavit, counter affidavit, as well as written submissions, and due to my misfortune, it was missed the attention, escaped the attention to the in this case. And because at the same time I'm getting many calls from the taxpayers, and I am really shocked in this. And this repetition challenged. Kindly look into that. Section 16.2 versus 16.4 cannot look into that alone. There are underlying such conditions exist. Because especially in COVID limitations, if I could not able to comply the conditions because of the government restrictions, and at the same time because doctrine of impossibility, then demand cannot be sustained. I put a question, and at the same time, in the proceedings, we challenged rules of code in the case of Airtel, and the AIP case in the case of sorry. Now I'm just a minute, sir. Share. Okay. Stop share. AIP case with a passion, I had done it, and somehow because I challenge this, I taken the informed, calculated, decisive approach. My intention is to protect the revenue, because somehow we need to stop it, because because the act of GST, we need to look into that, all the things, because it's our day-to-day partial of life. My query is, upon file, is form GST3B is a written or optional form is the number 1 query. Rule 61.5, if GST3B filed, GST3 shall not require to be filed. What is the intent? What is the GST3 not required to be filed? And Rule 69, Rule 73, Rule 75, Rule 77. Everywhere it was issued GST 3. And I don't want to go with GST 3B. I want to go with GST 3. Because if my sales returns are more than my sales, I am eligible to claim my output tax as well as interest also. And there is a liability with reference to my RCM. I need to pay taxes. Though I can utilize that one in case if I have the cash liability. For RCM, I can utilize the cash liability also. Means by cash. So there was a due, I can able to do it. And the query is Form GST 3B versus Form GST 3. Form GST 3 Part A will be auto-populated on the basis of Form GST 1 and Form GST 2. I don't even because and there was a delay because late fee it is there, all the things it was there. I can regularize the returns also. Please look into that. Section 16(4). A registered person shall not be entitled to take input tax credit in respect of any invoice or debit note for supply of goods or service or both after the term after due date has been mentioned it because they never specify the mode here. They never specify the mode. If I admit my money in my books of accounts and as well as I declared with central excise because income tax returns under Central Act, do I can take out because do I can admitted input and everything? Do can my income tax returns will be rejected? The query. And Form GST 3 as well as GST 3B has enabled, contrary because GST 3 is not enabled, GST 3B is enabled contrary to the provisions of the CGST Act as well as the GST Act. Payment is not a criteria because assessment includes reassessment also. Assessment includes self-assessment, reassessment, provisional assessment, blah, blah, blah. And the term return has defined valid return and return. And I can regularize my valid return because if not pay the tax and my return will be because I can able to regularize later point of time. There is a section 75(12). If the difference between GST 1 and the GST, because GST 1, GST 3, government is able to recover the money. And section 80. A fraudulent person is being provided as an option, installment method, and a self-assessment method. Why don't I? Because the COVID limitation. Government has given the relaxation, including for rental payments for living the people. People could not be able to sustain him here, but still, how government? Because it's intention of the. It is not the intention of the government. That's the reason they're giving the amnesty scheme. Amnesty scheme has been because it's not issued for the 1%, not for the 2%, not for 3%. It is large people, large taxpayers has been affected. And the section 13, because at the same time, I would like to bring you the clarification is what is the due dates for the period of March 2020 is the query here. Can anyone tell me that what is the due date read with the notification as well as the clarification? I'm the impression, I'm in the view. Please admit if I'm a mistake. Form GST 3B, the notification issued subject to conditional one. If I don't fulfill the conditions, the notification is applicable me or not, is the query. If the notifications are cannot able, is very clear, and subsequently the government does of late issue the circular also. Hence, it is not applicable to me. If it is not applicable to me, what is the due date is the query? 20th April 2020. And also, in that case, whether I can able to comply such conditions, filing of the returns and everything. Just a minute. One minute. I'm sharing my screen, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is the notification because it was issued by the Ministry of Law and Justice. And it was issued on, dated on 29 September 2020. The following Act of Parliament received the assent of the President on 29 September 2020 and here published for general information. The Taxation Other Laws, Relaxation and Amendment of Certain Provisions Act 2020. An act to provide relaxation and amendment of provisions of certain acts and matters connected there with or incidental thereto. (168) came. 168A came after the date. And here, look, kindly look at section. Notwithstanding anything contained in the Central Acts, the Customs Act 1962, except section 30, 30A, 41, 41A, 46, and 47, bracket close. The Customs Act 1975 or Chapter 5 of the Finance Act 1994 stood prior to omission wide one section 173 of the Central Goods and Service Tax with effect from first day of July 2007 to the time limit has been specified, whatever be that. Here, which falls during the period of 20th day March 2022, 29th day of September 2000, or such as the date after the 29th day of September 2000, the government by way of notification specified for completion or compliance of such action. What is completion of proceedings or issue of any order, notice, initiation, notification, or sanction of or approval by whatever name came by an authority, commission, to be whatever name called. B, very important. Filing an appeal, reply, or application, or furnish any report, document, return, or statement by whatever name called. Please make a note of that. The word here is written also. And look, please also link into that the original one because notification of extension shall not, withstanding that completion or complaints of such action shall not be made within such time, stand extended 30th day of September 2020 or such other date after that 30th day of September 2020, as central government may by notification specified in this behalf. Provided the central government may specify different days for completion of complaints, different actions under clause A or clause B also mentioned it. Kindly note into that, in the same COVID-19 period, government issued a notification for furnishing of the form GSTR 1 for the February 2022, September 2020. They ask them to furnish without, even if it is not appeared, we are eligible to take such input. But what if the supplier not declared, code number 1? What if the supplier erroneously punched the invoice number? And for example, I raised invoice Mr. Arup sir as invoice 100, as well as Mr. Other person, Mr. X, for our discussion issued as 99. If I wrongly punched because of ignorance to Arup sir instead of 100 as 99 as invoice number, do GST common portal allow me to amend the invoice? He may ask, Narendra, you issued 100 but wrongly punched in 99. You please amend the invoice. Whether I can do. And he is going to withhold the money also sometimes in case if I don't pay, because this is one of the mandatory complaints: invoice numbers, invoice date, all the GST number, GST ID. I'm not eligible to take input. But when I try to amend it with the form GSTR 1, system, because the moment if I mention 100, it will pop up Arup Das Gupta. If I try to amend it, system will decay. It will not accept because if I put 99, it will pop up error screenshot. I cannot able to do it. That is one. And this relaxation notification, because it's including September month also. Kindly make a note of that. The assessment includes, because for the period previous month, I need to complete the next month. There is a, because return is not a simple click and then go. We need to look into that, invoice serial numbers, classifications, okay, and time of supply, document numbers, rate of taxes, my input, and disallowance, reversals, debit note, credit note. It's a whole series of the process. At the same time, I cannot able to take my I cannot take it input as my books of accounts. There was a series of computations also, it was there. So I was recorded. This one. And so there is a lot of exercises there because we are doing for that. For September months also, because even the relaxation section 168 came on 29. How you can put a restriction for that September month like the 1 day? A person who wants to comply because issue principles of minimum 7 days notice is required. When the notification all of a sudden comes, don't I require the time also? That is one. Another important factor is government will realize the money only upon filing of the form GSTR 3B? Is the query. Kindly look into that with the GST portal ledgers and everything of that. See, I'm not here pointing out that because there are because I'm just because I'm facing the difficulty, especially in the COVID-19. I respect the order. However, I want to just bring the facts to you because it's already explained that with the document evidence approach also. If I offset the liability on 15th, and if I don't file the return with OTP as well as or DSC, But if it filed, is the government will realize the revenue is occurring. And if I file on 20th, filing offsetting of 15, and if I file on 20th, technically return has to, because government is recovering the money on 15th or 20th is occurring. The moment if you offset the liability, because I discharged my liability with output register, my input has been reduced, as well as my cash ledger also reduced. Section, there is a modification, everything will be there. And the status of after offsetting, after filing of form GST 3B of in 2000, because 20th, it will not change it. Kindly and strongly rely.
Narendra sir, I'll just, sir, we have about 5 minutes left for you, sir. Then after that, we'll have the quick question and answer.
Fine, sir. Fine, sir. Fine. I'm just putting the July 2020 return. It was July 2017. Government has been informed that if you not file the form GST 3B, because pay the tax on 25th and file the returns on 28th. Difference of the tax, you need to pay the tax. Interest also is given that. I was in impression of that one. Many, not only me and many people. Now, considering the time limit and everything, I'm just giving mention that the submissions here. The implicant order is not challenged because this order has been challenged it not only 16.2, 16.4. It was challenged with the preamble. Number 1, Article 13.2. Even government cannot withhold on one's rights. Article 14. Article 19.1G. Article 20. Article double jury, because no one cannot be punished twice. Article 21. Article 51A. I want to comply my duties, institutional duties. Can someone come because you're not required? It's a law. It's case law and a problem. At the same time, challenge 300A, Article 265 also, and challenge the rules, sections, everything, and assessment proceedings, COVID limitations, all things. And one more thing. There was one important decision with reference to early automotive JM because it pertains to VAT Act of Tamil Nadu, other state acts. They compare that and the process because it was done is escaped attention. So I submitted and I was totally surprised in this. In Tamil Nadu VAT Act, the forms are very clear. JKLMN. But in GST, forms are not clear. In Tamil Nadu Act, there is no optional form exists. In GST Act, as explained to you, GST 3B is exist. Number 2. In Tamil Nadu Act, I need to comply only one condition. If I have invoice, I'm eligible to take input. But in GST Act, I need to comply a lot of conditions. And the subject receipt of the goods and services. What if in case March 2020, because I taken the connection of services of Airtel for 24 months. As per the time of supply, Airtel will raise the invoice to me. So it was commenced from because following the next following year. I am eligible to take input on March 2020. No, subject to receipt of the goods and services. Kindly look into that in case of installments in the lots. Only upon receipt of the final lot only I am eligible to receive the money. And the concept of late fee is not there in the Tamil Nadu VAT Act. Concept of late fees exists in GST Act. There is no COVID limitation. Here the COVID limitations exist. And there is no strong backup. Your strong backup is there. And the important point of that, there is a sea of changes between GST Act as well as VAT Act. And in Tamil Nadu VAT Act is an origin-based concept. In GST, it is a destination-based concept. I would like to bring a kind nation. I, from AP, procured material from West Bengal from Arup Das Gupta. And because of the contractual obligations, I need to raise an invoice, a FCM RCM basis. as per the government conditions, I obligated to discharge the money to Mr. Arup Das Gupta in West Bengal to pay the taxes on behalf of me. It's an indirect tax mechanism. Mr. Arup sir declared in form GST 1 and declared, and my recipient state of Andhra Pradesh received the money on behalf in my name. An indirect tax mechanism. It's not a direct mechanism. Indirect tax mechanism. How can I whittle down my because it is the situation I need to go through that. But how can I forgo my own money? Is the query. Sir, concerning limitations, I finished it this one, and just I'm doing one recap.
Yeah.
Okay. And see, I'm working on that because my concern, because I'm getting calls, and at the same time, I was totally shocked. At the same time, because with a lot of passion, enthusiasm, because as because I'm due to obedient the officer of the court, as well as because I'm working on that, how to do, because I was totally shocked. Sleepless nights also is there. I am just remembering that the applicant order challenge due to the following reasons. Section 2, difficulty complaints of such mandatory or underlying conditions. Rule 65 read with the Rule 69, 73, 75 and 77 read with the Section 75(12) as well as Section 168A. And 74 explanation 2 also. Then because they cannot be here without rejecting my returns, how do you me can allege as a fraud? Otherwise, Section 75 74(2) exception is supposed to not exist. What if the officer is issued that ASMT notice, okay, or else suppose if issue a DRC 01A notice, or else some other notice, what it may be. Section 75(5), I have 3 opportunities. And ASMT notice, because you file the returns before before the proceeding this one, all the proceedings in relation to furnishing the proceeding because will be dropped. And a person who's purchasing the material in the April month is giving the 18 months. A person who purchasing the materials or services in the March month, why it is 6 months? I worked in a defense company. We are giving the 14 years of guarantee to defense. Sometimes in order to complete the product, I am incorporating for the manufactured product, AS7. Because it will take 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years also. And a person who, because it take the registration section 18, is giving the 1 year of time. And if what if in case if I raise invoice to Mr. Das Gupta Ji, sealed approval basis, I have 6 months of time. Right now, sir. And I will the case form GST 3B is an optional form, challenge the proceedings and limitation on account of COVID-19, non-availability of DRC 01 and South Street put for the same, and out of DRC 07, Section 168A, the term assessment includes already covered, limitations, collection of late fee, explanation, I mean irregular proceedings, all this. I owe you 2,000 rupees, sir, Arup sir. If I take pen or paper, write 2,000 rupees, put a Gandhi image, I will give you. Will you accept? Will you discharge my liability? There are many questions are there, sir, and hope I completed my meeting, sir.
Thank you, Narendra sir. I think that was wonderful. That the deliberation that we have had, and as you rightly shared, that these are some of the arguments that we have taken. Maybe all the arguments were noted, not noted, taken into consideration. So that is to be seen in the times to come. Plus, we have alternative remedies, going forward again, order also. So now to take this thing forward, a few questions that are there, like I'll take one query that come. Yeah. So one question that we'd like to ask from academic point of view, as we were discussing that day, that of whether this judgment will be taken forward, in terms of review petition or filing an SLP. So what are the alternative please, that you can,
Sir,
release that.
I am actually, this is my first case in Andhra Pradesh.
Okay.
At the same time, the taxpayer, many people is able to afraid to approach the because because Hon'ble Ujjal Bayan said, because I remember his word. Many people approaching the court because of distress to the Honorable Court for Justice.
Okay.
And at the same time, we professionals as well as the court and everything, I'm going to look into that. And here the order is because I'm just checking with because initially the taxpayer could not able to come to the court. Okay, and however, considering the facts and everything, the interest is 24% here.
Yes. Okay.
24%. Notification not issued under say as 18% for input. Section 53.
Okay.
So, and business is very new, and considering the facts and everything, and because came to that, and I am working on that, how to rectify this one, and with the due regards to the Honorable Court, and also working for that, and SLP or review petition, how to do and everything that one, sir. Any other questions, sir?
So yeah, and another question is that
Excuse me, sir. I am checking with the client also.
Yeah.
Because I done my duty as a surgeon, and I'm waiting for that.
Okay. So another question I would like to take from Ramandeep, then I'll come back to Venuji's question, which is Ramandeep ji saying about in para 17.5 of the judgment. Para 17.5 of the judgment. It is held that it was that where a non-obstant clause does not refer a specific provision but refers generally, it is not permissible to hold that it excludes the whole act and stand alone by itself.
Sir, one more thing I would like to bring your attention. Kindly look into the para number 4.
So para
number 4.
Para number 4, yeah.
Petitioner filed a lengthy reply denying the counter abatements. And strenuously argued it. And kindly look into that para number 26 also.
Okay.
We have gone through the citation relayed by the petitioners. They are mostly facts-oriented decisions wherein it was observed that when the delay for filing of returns was properly explained, penalty was not imposable. Penalty was not imposable. We are now touching upon the various of section 16 of the AP GST Act and the CGST Act. And at the same time, there are other facts also it was there. And there are maybe certain observations are there. I could not able to disclose in the open meeting and everything. And I'm working on that, how to rectify this order, and because by way of SLP, and it's not a reasoned order. Completely not a reasoned order. It's not a reasoned order.
Another question which Ramandeep ji has asked, which have deliberated, I think, during the discussion with this, which is the very definition of valid return. Valid return is where I'm paying all the taxes. So Ramandeep ji is asking whether we have taken this argument that I'm not allowed to file a return without paying the total taxes. So thereby you are restricting me from availing the credit or filing the returns.
Yes, sir. And one more thing, Form GST 3 and GST 3B is not enabled because one more thing, even define the GST 3 and as well as GST 3B is not enabled in according to the provisions of the Act. I would like to bring you a kind of intention because there is a 43A, 43A under certain provisions, Rule 69, 73, 75, 70 omitted.
Yeah.
Onwards, with effective from 1/10/2022 onwards. It means it was exist prior to the date.
Right.
And that is the reason because, for example, because of the limitations, because I could not able to receive the money, because the government, the RBI issued the notification, Mr. Arus, you don't need to pay the rental for 3 months. And government extended the waiver because EMIs, loans and everything, RBI restrictions was given. But me, because I filed Form GST 1, but I not filed GST 3B, for example. In that case, we can, whether under the same condition, whether I need to file Form GST 3B is an optional form, whatever may be that, whether on basis of books of accounts or auto-populated. What if in case Now system generated form GST 3B is generating for that. It is admitting. Am I wrong, sir?
Yeah.
If I go with even system generated GST 3B itself, am I wrong? It's easy for easy complaints and everything. Yes, sir.
So I think, sir, what you have shared is just to sum up. Yeah, just to sum up, what you have shared is that there is a difference between what you are trying to say is that there is a difference between availing versus claim. So in my books of accounts, we have claimed so that whether that be 1640 blah. And another important point that you have raised, sir, today is that if I'm given an amnesty to file my belated returns, filing my returns after a date by reducing the late fees and whatever is there, I'm not allowed the credit of 16. I'm restricted. My credit is restricted because of section 16(4). Then the amnesty does not have any meaning. That's another ground that you have taken.
Another thing is 3/2023 notification issued it. In the amnesty scheme, is the government giving the mention that because I was otherwise I don't require to pay that enables other form to me. Why do you ask me to file 3B? You may restrict it.
Right.
In the amnesty scheme, is they mentioned it that you cannot do it. See, one more thing here. Am I because liable for penalty, prosecution, fraud? I recently I come on an interesting situation in Tamil Nadu, in Krishnagiri. A well-known person because business as well as the person got a notice under section 74. He has a decade of because more than 30-40 years reputable person. Okay, he got it 74. Sir, I'm government alleging a fraud, sir. I'm a response because big person in my area, and because what is my image? They are using me fraud.
Right.
He was totally shocked. And one more thing, returns are 4 types to be filed. I'm just giving information. People are just filing for 500 rupees, 200 rupees, and everything. I am because after introduction of the GST, because I completely switched off my profession. I'm not filing the form GST 3B itself because only 2 or 3 because for the purpose of understanding.
Right.
There are 4 types of returns. Whatever the data given, file that data. Number 1. Number 2, whatever the data given, validate the data and file it. Number 2, validate the books versus returns, workings, returns as well as banks and everything. 3, plus 4 advisory. These are professionals has to look into that.
So, and since we are having running out of time, so I'll just ask the last question, which is the question asked by Arpit Saujaj, which is what happens if the invoice is raised within, say, the month of March 22, and the supply is not made. The supply is not made to me before, say, the due date, say 30th November 2020. It may be such that it's a works contract, they have raised the invoice, but somehow, or whatever, maybe other kind of service that they have given, and they have not made the supply to me. So in this case, 16.2 says that without supply, I cannot avail the credit.
Sir, at the same time, 16, then if you look into the Central Act, para number, page number 19. And loss. Para number 20, page number 20, first para. Provided that where the goods against invoice are received in lots or installment, the registered person shall be entitled to take in credit upon receipt of first or last.
Yeah.
And doctrine of impossibility. And because it was interpreted that 16.2, because 16.1, 16.2, 16.3, 16.4, all are independent. Gone, no, sir.
They should be taken as when there's a. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you. And so I will now request CA Venugopal Gilla Venuji to to offer a word of thanks to the speaker.
Yeah. Firstly, thank you, Arupji, for inviting the person who has argued the case itself. And I know Narendra Kumar for quite a long time. Yeah, so winning and losing is part of the thing. But there are many questions that have come up as a food for thought. We can still take these arguments and go and fight the case. especially this judgment definitely people other than in the other states, I can still go ahead and argue that okay, this High Court judgment would still not be applicable to me because it's not in my state here. And I'm sure there are other matters that have been listed which would be coming up for hearing and other aspects. But Narendra ji, really thank you for posing so many questions for us to think, and maybe we reiterate and represent it how when the matter is being presented. Yeah. And friends, in the group, as Arup ji said, it's very important for us also to introspect and ask the questions. Is being prepared with the judgment, and especially every Saturday morning, whatever the point which is being discussed, like being prepared and coming up to the next level discussions will also add more value to us. And really thank you, Narendra sir, for taking your time out and appraising us as to how the proceedings went and what were your thoughts when you were presenting. It was kind of a vivid sharing that you have done. Thank you so much for joining us on this Saturday.
Thank you, Mr. Venugopal. I know him very well. He's my friend of my friend. He's my friend only.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. So we'll see you all again in the next